Hi everyone, Jonathan here again with something from the stores, and it's a monster. If I hold it in profile, you might think that it was an absurdly large box-lock pocket pistol of the 18th century, if you know a bit about your antique firearms. Clearly it's not a pocket pistol unless you have very large pockets. Put you out of your misery. It is in fact a rather wonderful triple barrel, triple lock, not in the Smith & Wesson sense, pistol. You could call it a holster pistol, I suppose, but I don't think you would have carried this in a holster, and presumably you wouldn't have had two of them, but if you did, you'd have had 6 shots. So this was made in London, well, we're almost sure that it was made in London, as the lock plate states. That's not always the case. Sometimes guns will say London on them, and actually they've been made in Birmingham, and the London thing is a sort of slightly cheating mark of quality, or maybe they were assembled in London and parts were made elsewhere. Always a possibility. This one was made by a chap called Freeman. If I can get that to focus. There we go. So we believe that to be a James Freeman who was working from 1738 until the 1750s. So tentatively put that at about 1740. And what looks like rifling in the muzzle is not, as you might have seen before. Yes, it is. I think we have previously featured a turn-off barrel gun where the star shapes there in the muzzle were actually for screwing off the barrels. They're not in this case. This is actually rifling. Very deep at the muzzle and less deep in the bore, but rifled nonetheless. So a triple-barreled rifled pistol. I kind of want to meet the guy that commissioned this, or purchased it if it was made sort of on spec. Silver mounts, we've got a blank silver escutcheon plate, we've got a grotesque mask, butt cap. These are all fairly standard features you could pick from a catalogue. There's some nice foliate engraving on the thing. I think that's a view we don't have on our collections online, so have a look at the trigger guard. Beautifully made. It's a little tired, but you know, I've never seen another one like this, so pretty impressive. We've got horn tips on the rammers, 2 rammers for 3 barrels, and then critically, 2 triggers for 3 barrels. What gives? Well, the 3rd trigger is actually a button on top of the action. And the other curious thing about this piece is it actually has a pair of blade front sights on little ribs between the barrels, which is very odd. Not because flintlock firearms didn't have sights, many of them did, but because this has no rear sights, and it has no means of actually using those front sights. Nope, there is absolutely no way. You cannot see them. They don't line up between the frizens. You can't even sort of acquire them as you lower the pistol because they don't go anywhere. You would be aiming way off to the left if you tried to align the left blade between the leftmost 2 frizens, and there are big flash guards between each frizzen that stop you from even doing that. So strictly decorative front sights. So now the weird thing is you have to fire these in the right sequence. So the button trigger firing the leftmost cock, that fires fine, but if we were to try and fire it in the other order, this would hang up. I know because I've tried. So then you can then fire the other 2 barrels in any order. So let's just to prove that, right hand trigger drops the right hand cock. The left hand trigger, I can't call it middle because it's directly in line with the button trigger on the top, drops the middle cock. So yeah, a curious contraption, and there's something going on with the lockwork in here that means you must fire your leftmost barrel first or it will jam. Curious quirk for a curious gun. And last bit of decoration I didn't point out to you, we've got ears of maize on the butt and grapes. So, I hope you enjoyed that monster of a pistol. Join us again next week for another one of these. You can go over to the GameSpot channel for lots of videos featuring me blethering about video game guns. Please come and visit one of our 3 sites if you would like to, and if you can. And if you'd like to donate to us, links will be in the description. See you again